Yo, what's up YouTube? I'm here to do my second video on the UFC 150 for August 11th. And the first fight is Nick Lentz versus E.G. Mitsuoka. Nick Lentz, he's probably like 4-0, 5-0 with a draw in the UFC. Then he lost his last couple of fights. Last 3 fights, but one of them is a no contest now. But E.G. Mitsuoka, I seen him fight once. He was out striking Takanori Gomi, so that's pretty impressive. But he ended up losing the fight, getting TKO'd in the second round. So I think I'm gonna go with Nick Lentz, because it's about time he wins, and he's a really good fighter, really good wrestler too. And next fight, the first one on FX, is Dustin Paige versus Chico Camos. Paige, coming off the Ultimate Fighter 14, he was on Mayhem Miller's team. I'm pretty sure he was on Mayhem Miller's team. This is in the bantamweight division. The first fight was lightweight. And Paige's got a shitty record. You know, he's 11-7. I think he was 10-5 when he came in the UFC. I'm kind of surprised he's getting another shot, but I'm glad he is, because I kind of like Dustin Paige, and I'm gonna go with him. I don't know how I've never seen this Chico Camos dude fight before, but he's got a pretty good record. He's 11-3, so. But if I've never seen him fight before, he's probably never fought in a big name show. So, yeah, I think Paige's got this. And the next fight is Ken Stone versus Eric Perez. Eric Perez, I think he fought John Elbert, I'm pretty sure, if that's who I'm thinking of. I remember that fight. It was controversial. He won by submission, but Elbert didn't even tap out. And if that's the guy I'm thinking of, I'm not positive. And then Ken Stone, you know, he was in the WEC, got knocked out by Eddie Wineland. He came to the UFC, got knocked out by Scott Jorgensen, and then won his last 2 fights in a row, so in the UFC. So I'm gonna go with Ken Stone. I've seen him fight a couple of times. You know, he's never really impressed me, but I've seen Eric Perez fight once, and that sure as hell didn't impress me either. So I'm gonna go with Ken Stone. Another fight on FX: Jared Hammond versus Michael Cooper. Cooper's 11-1. Hammond's 13-4. Hammond's knocked quite a few people out. He's also gotten knocked out a few times. But this is in the middleweight division, and I don't know how, but I think Hammond's gonna win. I'm gonna take Hammond for it. Then the next fight, I'm kind of excited for this one. Dennis Bermudez versus Tommy Hayden. Tommy Hayden, I've never seen him fight before. I've heard his name a time or two. Bermudez is 9-3. You know, he's won for his last 4. He got submitted by Drew Fickett, by Diego Brandao in the Ultimate Fighter finale, and by someone else 3 times in a row. All 3 losses by submission. But he's coming off a win over Pablo Garza, and Pablo, he ain't no joke, man. He's a pretty good fighter too. He's gonna fight Mark Hominick, and so that'll be pretty good. And I'm gonna take Bermudez. He's got really solid wrestling. You know, he's a finalist in the Ultimate Fighter, like I said. So obviously he's better than people think he is. But I'm gonna go with Bermudez. Then the first fight on the pay-per-view card for UFC 150 is Justin Lawrence versus Max Holloway. Now, Max Holloway, he came into the UFC 4-0. He got submitted by Dustin Poirier in the first round, and he's won a decision since then. 4 of his 5 wins are by decision. He's a very good striker, talented striker, but I don't see him being dangerous. I mean, he's finished 1 out of his 5 opponents. And Justin Lawrence, coming off the Ultimate Fighter, he's had over 150 amateur fights. He's 4-0 now. He knocked out John Kofer in the 3rd round in his UFC debut. And I'm gonna go with Justin Lawrence. I really like this kid. I can't believe he didn't win the Ultimate Fighter. Like, honestly, nothing against Mike Chiesa. I like him. He's a good fighter. You know, he always finds a way to win. but when he fought Lawrence on the Ultimate Fighter, Lawrence hit him with a nasty ass body shot, and you know, Chiesa put his hand up. He fell to the ground and put his hand up like he was done, like the fight should have been stopped, and the ref didn't stop it, and Lawrence got on top of him, and you know, he just acted like it never even happened. I was pretty pissed. Lawrence should have gotten a TKO for a body shot, and probably won the Ultimate Fighter, but you know, whatever. So yeah, I'm gonna go with Justin Lawrence. They both got really good kickboxing. Lawrence, he's gotten a win by an armbar, and that's Holloway's only losses to an armbar. So I don't know. It kind of goes in the favorites of Justin Lawrence, I think. That's a featherweight fight. And in the middleweight division, we got Yushin Okami versus Buddy Roberts. Buddy Roberts, I've seen him fight his last fight, and I don't know, he really impressed me with his last fight. I don't remember who he fought, but he did really good. He had a really good impression. He had a really good impression on me in his UFC debut. He's 12-2, and he's gonna fight Yushin Okami. Yushin Okami, he used to be like the man. Everybody was afraid of him. You know, he was beating the piss out of everybody. He was beating Tim Bosch in his last fight before he ended up getting knocked out 54 seconds, I think, in the third round. He's coming off a 2-fight losing streak, both by knockout. First one by Anderson Silva in the second round, second one by Tim Bosch in the third. I'm gonna go with Yushin Okami because he's got a really good grappling background, and he's a decent striker too. And I think he's just way too experienced and way too good for Roberts. Next fight, this one's gonna be pretty good too. Jake Shields versus Ed Herman. I like both of these guys a lot. Ed Short Fuse Herman, he's 20-7. You know, he don't have the best record, but if he gets you to the ground, he's gonna tap you out, that's for sure. But I don't think he's gonna tap Jake Shields out. Jake Shields, they're both black belts in Jiu-Jitsu. Shields is 27-6-1. He was 26-4-1, but he went off a 2-fight losing streak. One to George St. Pierre in a title shot. The second one to Jake Ellenberger. Which the Ellenberger fight, that was just a bad matchup for him, really. I mean, obviously Ellenberger's a better fighter. He knocked him out in under a minute. But I think that was a bad matchup. You know, they're both really good wrestlers. So I don't think there's any way Shields was taking him down, and Shields ain't a good striker, and Ellenberger is. And he can knock you out. He knocks a lot of people out, so yeah, that was a bad matchup. But he won his last fight. It was a controversial decision over Akiyama. I had him winning that fight, but a lot of people seen it another way. I think if Shields just goes to both of these guys, I mean, Herman, he proved he can knock you out in his Tim Crater fight. Jake Shields, he's not that great of a stand-up fighter. He's a lot better than he was. He's a good stand-up fighter now. Well, I wouldn't say good, but he's pretty decent now. I mean, but he trains with the Diaz's, and yet he has like one of the worst stand-ups in MMA. I know, right? But he's got decent stand-up. You know, he lands a lot of his strikes, but what he does is how the Diaz's throw pitter-patter punches. Shields throws punches like a quarter of that. He throws them with like 10% power. You know, there's no possible way they're even gonna knock anybody out. Just score points basically. Even when he throws a leg kick, he just taps him. You know, he doesn't even try to do anything effective at all. But I like Jake Shields a lot, and I like Ed Herman. But honestly, I think if Jake Shields can take him down and just wrestle him, I don't think either of them are going to be able to submit each other. I think Shields can just take him down and wrestle him to a decision. So I'll take Jake Shields. This is another good one. The co-main event. This is in the lightweight division. Donald Cerrone versus Melvin Guillard. Melvin Guillard, he's lost his last 2 in a row, except he's coming off a 1-fight win streak against a jiu-jitsu guy, Fabricio Camões, which I think he should be on a 3-fight losing streak. That was just an absolutely terrible, terrible, terrible performance. He got taken down repeatedly. I mean, this dude, he fought Shane Roller. He fought, you know, a lot of good high-level guys on the ground, and they couldn't get him down, and some jiu-jitsu guy can get him down and not even tap him out. I mean, that's kind of unusual. I mean, I could tap him out if I tried to, probably. Not really, but, you know, his jiu-jitsu sucks. And, anyways, he had a terrible performance in his last fight. I had Kamos winning that fight 30-27. So I think, as far as I'm concerned, Gallard's on a 3-fight losing streak. And he's going to fight Donald Cerrone. He was on fire. He won 4 in a row, 3 finishes. Looking better and better every time you see him. He got his ass whooped by Nate Diaz. And then he won a decision over Jeremy Stevens. So he's 18-4 and 1 no contest. He would be 19-4, but he tested positive for banned substances in his WEC debut. I don't know what they were. I think they were painkillers. I'm not positive. But I'm going to take Cerrone, possibly by murder. I mean, Gallard's talking so much shit saying that he's going to beat Cerrone's ass, but I don't see it. I don't see one way how he could win that fight. I mean, puncher's chance, that's about it, and I don't think it's going to happen. And then the main event, a rematch between Ben Henderson and Frankie Edgar for the lightweight title. Now, this was the main event for UFC 144, except for this one, Ben Henderson's going to be in the red corner, and Edgar's going to be in the blue corner. Champion, Ben's the champion now. Obviously, he's 16-2, Edgar's 14-2-1, and avenged his only loss except for Ben Henderson, so he's got his chance to avenge both of his losses on the 11th. But I don't think it's going to happen. I mean, I think Edgar, he could have won that fight. He could have made it really boring and pulled a John Fitch and won. But, because he took Benson down a couple times, you know, and he took him down a couple times, and he could have just did that for every round and out-wrestled him, because they're both NCAA Division I wrestlers. I think NCAA Division I. But Edgar's clearly the better wrestler. And Edgar's got good boxing, and Ben Henderson, he's got really good taekwondo, pretty much solid as far as stand-up goes. And he's defending his title for the first time against the guy he got it from, and I think he's going to do it again. I'm going to take Ben Henderson by decision. Seems how he's in the UFC now and he can't finish anybody. I'll take him by decision. Man, I don't have anything against him. He's fighting the best in the world. He's fought the best in the world since he's been here, except for Mark Bocek, but he out-wrestled him, who is a phenomenal wrestler and a phenomenal jiu-jitsu guy. So, I mean, all of his wins in the UFC have been impressive, as far as I'm concerned, in my opinion. And I'm going to take Ben Henderson by decision. Because everybody thought that, a lot of people thought Edgar won that last fight against Ben Henderson, but I don't. I don't see how he won that fight at all. He won the first round, and then the last 4, I had him losing. In the end of the 5th round, or in the beginning of the 5th round, too, Ben was screaming at the crowd, you know, pumped up, you know, he's ready to go, and Edgar looked like he didn't even want to be there. You know, and at the end of the 5th round, Benson was on top and beating the living piss out of him. If there wasn't, you know, if that wasn't the end of the round, what the hell would have happened? You know, would have Frankie gotten finished? Probably not, but it would have made a bigger impression to maybe where people think it's not a controversial decision. But yeah, I'll take Benson, and I'll post another video on my predictions for UFC 151. I think that's the next event, UFC 151. I'm sorry I was a little late on this. You know, you only got like 2.5 days to watch it before the event happens. But you know, I just now got the ambition to do this video. And thanks, guys. I'm out.